In the lush hills of wine country is a building whose disastrous end was shrouded in mystery for decades.
We're in one of the most beautiful parts of America, just north of San Francisco.
Wineries, golden hilltops, oak groves, and we come across this large structure.
This place was clearly something special, but it isn't immediately apparent what happened here to leave it in this state.
Found in a tranquil setting, together it all reveals something unexpected.
This place tells the story of one of America's most famous writers.
But the ruins show there was a twist in this tale.
What we're looking at here is the product of one man's dream. It all came crashing down in a single night of tragedy.
Today, these remains stand within the boundaries of a state historic park. Bern Lefson has been a docent here for 10 years.
This was the home of a very important, famous individual in U.S. history. This structure was the dream of Jack London, the most influential writer of his time. His books were read by people around the world.
Today, Jack London's books, like White Fang, Call of the Wild, they're not held in the highest literary esteem, but in his day, Jack London was a superstar.
Costing close to $2 million in today's money, this was intended to be the home of Jack and his second wife, Charmian.
He named it Wolf House.
Living here would have made you feel like luxury. But with all of the windows, one would also feel that you're part of nature, which was very important to Jack.
In 1911, the foundations were poured, and they hid a secret. They were strong enough to carry a 40-story building. The reason was down to the 1906 San Francisco earthquake.
It's estimated that between 70 and 80% of the city was destroyed.
London wanted to make sure that his house would not only be stable in an earthquake with a massive foundation, but also as close to fireproof as possible. He used volcanic rocks for the walls. Where he had exposed wood, he used redwood with the bark still on. And redwood trees are famously resistant to fire.
Jack London had intended Wolf House to be a lasting monument on his grand estate. What he was trying to establish here was a far cry from his adventure-fueled formative years.
Jack London grew up poor, on the streets, literally on the streets of San Francisco. He worked on sailboats, sailed as far as Japan, rode the rails back and forth across the country, and this was all by the age of 20.
At 21, he chose to follow the gold rush north into the Klondike.
He spent about a year up there, meeting all the various characters, talking to people, taking in the scenery, and it's out of that experience that the germ of his writing was really born.
London's novel, The Call of the Wild, in 1903 was a huge success, and it made him rich.
An affair, the breakdown of his marriage, and then a new marriage followed. By 1905, the now famous author was looking to settle down.
So little known about Jack London, he was actually very passionate about conserving the soil. And at that time in California, farmers were using chemical fertilizers and just basically farming the soil out and moving on to another farm. And his travels around the world showed him ways to farm in a better, more earth-friendly way. And that is something he wanted to share with the world through his work here in the land.
The couple bought up small areas of land to create their new property called Beauty Ranch.
And this parcel here is the one that allowed them to physically move onto the land and become residents of their new dream together. This was really a mark of success for Jack. This was really the pinnacle of his dream, was to have a wonderful place in the country that he could farm with his wife and be very close to nature.
The small cottage provided lodging, but Wolf House was intended to be their true home. However, in August 1913, with the house nearing completion, the unthinkable occurred.
Jack was awakened in the middle of the night being told that the Wolf House was on fire. And when he got here, he noticed the whole roof was engulfed, and he knew there was no saving it. What's left standing is all that does not burn.
Contained inside, a fire had burned out of control before the alarm was raised.
The sad irony is the thick walls that were designed to keep fire out did not handle the fire that began within.
For decades, the cause of the fire remained a mystery. But in 1995, a forensics team conducted a study of the site.
We are in the dining room, and the fire was determined by scientific methods to begin right in front of that fireplace.
Rags soaked in linseed oil had been used to treat the interior wood surfaces. And it's believed that at the end of the day, those rags were left in a pile there.
They were able to actually confirm the spontaneous combustion theory. It was an incredibly hot day, and the sun beaming in the open window, hitting those rags, just heated them up until the point of combustion.
In this case, by the time anyone was aware the building was on fire, it was far too late to do anything.